Break to tell you what's going on, what's possibly headed our way as we move deeper into the evening through the early overnight. I'm alongside meteorologist Matt Milosevic and Daniel Johnson, so we have you covered right here on air, online, all of our social platforms as well. We had round one of severe storms earlier in the day that break for much of the afternoon, early evening. Here is round two that we've been talking about, arriving right on schedule. We have big thunderstorms that have formed from near Owensboro out to Evansville, along the Wabash, and then arcing on into our northwestern communities. Some of these storms are indeed becoming very, very strong and also severe. I'll put on some of the warnings for you. At this time, all the warnings are west of our viewing area, okay? No threat for severe weather in the viewing area over the next, let's say, 30 minutes or so. Beyond that, the threat is going to pick up big time, first in our western communities and then racing towards I-65 as we get closer to 11 o'clock and midnight tonight, and then after midnight, our eastern communities. Everything you see flashing on your screen, a mixture of severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. Speaking of tornado warnings, this is out here north of Hopkinsville. This is Dawson Springs. Very hard hit December of 2021 with that mega tornado. Well, they're getting hit hard again tonight. A tornado emergency for Dawson Springs as we speak. Again, this is outside the viewing area, but if this supercell holds together, it could come close to our southwestern communities. No warnings, again, in the viewing area at this time. That'll likely be changing, however, later on tonight. Please keep in mind a tornado watch is in effect for much of our region, and that goes until 2 a.m. We'll keep you posted.
Dan made progress with his mental health, but his...
Hi, folks. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jay Cardosi here at WLKY. Going to take this commercial break, but it's likely that as we move deeper into the evening, we're going to be cutting in with continuous weather coverage because we have some unbelievably strong storms now just west of the WLKY viewing area. Here's what's going on right now. Nothing around the metro or the I-65 corridor, but we think that'll be changing over the next 1 to 2 hours. We go a little bit farther off to the west. You can see very strong storms coming away from the Wabash now, Vincennes, and moving off towards the east. Already we have tornado warnings that have been issued for areas immediately west of the WLKY viewing area, and to include places like Du Bois County, where we've got little mesovortices that are trying to wrap up and actually spawn weak tornadoes as this entire line moves off to the east. So number one, we're going to have to be on the lookout for widespread straight-line wind damage as we move deeper into the evening through the early overnight. And any one of these little bowing segments that tends to rapidly form along the line, there could be tornado spin-ups as well. So really all hazards are on the table as we move deeper into this Sunday evening through the early overnight. Still talking about severe thunderstorm warnings flashing in the orange shades, if you will, and this continues to be a tornado emergency for central Hopkins County of western Kentucky. Large damaging tornado on the ground went right through Dawson Springs. We don't know the extent of the damage coming out of that community just yet. We'll try to find out more information and pass it along, as we do know you likely have friends and family that still reside to the west of our viewing area in western Kentucky. So we'll keep you apprised of that. But we are going to have to watch the movement of that supercellular tornadic thunderstorm as it moves towards our southwestern communities, like Grayson County, perhaps even Breckenridge County. Hopefully it'll weaken. We'll watch it close. Again, the main line, as you can see, is really starting to move rapidly now in from the west and northwest. The main line flying its way east and southeast at speeds of around 40 to 50 miles per hour as it moves across any one location in the viewing area as the night wears on. Again, be on the lookout for very strong, damaging straight line winds and the possibility of some isolated tornado spin-ups as well. Keep in mind the tornado watch goes until 2 a.m. for the better part of the viewing area. We're here. We're ready to go. I have Matt Milosevic in-house. I have Daniel Johnson also in-house. We're going to keep you posted on this very changeable, potentially very stormy weather as it moves on through over the next several hours. Folks, we'll keep you updated right here on WLKY.
Well, so much for a basic medical episode.
With this, man.
Inez, let me ask you. You're using Head and Shoulders, right?
Hi, folks. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jay Cardosi here at WLKY on this Sunday night alongside meteorologist Matt Milosevic as well as Daniel Johnson. We got you covered. We're going to keep cutting into these network commercial breaks to keep you updated on the impending severe weather that's trying to now sneak into our far western communities. At this time, there's really no dangerous weather in the WLKY viewing area. We do have the tornado watch that goes until 2 a.m., but you can see the big storms immediately west and southwest of the viewing area. And this line, this curved line that's now becoming more of a well-defined what we call bow echo is starting to take shape. That backward C, that long backward C you see there, I'm highlighting with my hand, that is a radar signature that usually indicates some damaging straight line wind gusts along the band of thunderstorms in scattered locations. And we've seen this already earlier on this Sunday evening, especially out here in Illinois. We have seen some tornado touchdowns with individual supercells, and there's still another very strong supercell that's holding south of Owensboro and just off to the southwest of Ohio County right there. That storm, that's the one that moved across Dawson Springs as a tornado emergency. That was producing a violent tornado at one point in time, but the line is starting to catch up to it. We'll soon gobble it up. So we're thinking that individual strong supercellular tornadic signature will likely start to come down, will likely weaken as the line envelops that supercell, so to speak. But nonetheless, anywhere along this line of storms from Owensboro back to Paducah and then curving back into sections of Martin County in southwest Indiana, which is just outside the viewing area, as is Du Bois County and Spencer County in Indiana. That's where there could be winds upwards of 60 miles per hour or so. And you can see the brighter shades of green right there, arcing down to east of Owensboro, and then again farther off to the west-southwest. That's the wind field we're going to have to watch as this entire band of storms continues to sweep off to the east quite quickly now. This line is hauling off to the east-southeast, speeds of 40 to 50 miles per hour. At that rate, these storms will be impacting the metro within the next 1 to 2 hours and then move east of the I-65 corridor, affecting our eastern communities as we get closer to midnight and again beyond the midnight hour. So that is what's going on right now. Let's stop the loop. Let me show you some of the warnings we have. In red, those are tornado warnings. There could be quick hitting tornado spin-ups in Du Bois County, northern Spencer County, and then farther off to the northwest of our region. And in the orange, those are severe thunderstorm warnings where you could see winds on the order of 50 to 60 miles per hour as the leading edge of the storms track across any one location. So again, much of the viewing area void of any dangerous weather, but you can see how the warnings are on our doorstep, and they will continue to sweep eastbound with these strong storms as we move deeper into your Sunday evening. As I've been talking about, there's a good chance that we will be on the air with you continuously as we move deeper into the evening and this line of storms gets closer to Louisville as well as the I-65 corridor. Certainly comparable to what we had earlier in the day. That's what this line of storms will likely be producing as it shifts across the WLKY viewing area. Once again, We're all here, ready to go. Matt, Daniel, myself, we'll keep you posted. Online, WLKY.com. On air, WLKY TV. And, of course, all of our social platforms. We'll cut in with more information during the next commercial break. We'll see you in a few minutes. Hi, folks. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jay Cardosi. Again, we're going to take this commercial break, give you an idea as to what's going on weather-wise. Nothing happening in the metro, but you can see the warnings lighting up the skies, so to speak. The radar scans here, especially here in southwestern Indiana, back through western Kentucky. A lot of the tornado warnings are now kind of being transferred, if you will, changed over to severe thunderstorm warnings as we're losing a lot of those supercellular characteristics, and it's becoming more of a linear event, and we were expecting this. Nonetheless, you can see the warnings running from Lawrence County, Indiana, severe thunderstorm warning for some high winds that could be coming into the western portions of that county. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that continues for Du Bois County, although we've been checking some of the OBS going back in time. Some of the winds out in Du Bois County, 20 to 40 miles per hour. Now that there could be isolated locations where the winds are a little bit higher, but so far we haven't seen too much terrible weather coming out of Du Bois County. Good news there. As we go farther off to the south, this is Meade County, Brandenburg, just off to the west of you, you have a warning in effect. Also, severe thunderstorm warning from near Hardinsburg, but especially northwestern Breckinridge County, and that's also westward into Perry County. And finally, as you track farther off to the southwest, and this is out of our viewing area, we still have a tornado warning. This is the same cell that moved across Dawson Springs, and that tornado was on the ground. That was an extremely large and dangerous tornado as it moved across Dawson Springs and then finally Hopkins County as well. But the main line is overtaking that supercell, so it is really starting to weaken that large tornado potential. That's the good news. Okay, everything you see here is moving off towards the east at speeds of around 40 to 50 miles per hour. That trend will continue. As you can see, nothing impacting the metro just yet, but this line of thunderstorm activity will continue to move towards the metro, the I-65 corridor from now until about midnight or so. After midnight, it'll move into our far eastern communities. And again, as it moves across any one location, certainly the potential for some damaging straight line wind gusts in scattered locations, maybe even an isolated tornado spin up. That cannot be ruled out. We'll definitely keep you posted right here at WLKY.
When people stop me to ask, what's my case worth, here's what I tell them.
Hi, folks. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jay Cardosi here at WLKY. We're going to take this commercial break. Quick weather update for you. Zoomed in tight on the Doppler radar. As you can see, a little bit of light rain around Jefferson County. Nothing all that severe, and certainly nothing that's going to cause any issues in the near future. We go a little bit farther off to the west, though. We do have scattered strong storms. Here's the thing. We've noticed this over the past hour. We've noticed that this line of storms is starting to weaken somewhat. Notice the mid parts of this line. I mean, we've got some strong weather going on in Lawrence County, and then that line really breaks apart as it's moving across Orange County, Crawford County, Harrison County. Picks up again. There's another strong storm right here in northern Breckinridge County. This one looks like it is producing winds 50 to 60 miles per hour that could actually come down towards the ground and cause some issues. And that is moving off towards the east across the remainder of Meade County and also northern Breckinridge County. Then, as you can see, as we go farther off towards the southwest, yes, we have some dangerous weather going on here just northeast of Hopkinsville. This is Ohio County, just outside of our viewing area. This is Grayson County, you folks in Litchfield, Caneyville, in the WLKY viewing area. We're going to watch those strong storms that are off to your west by about 30 miles because they could impact you as the late evening hours wear on. But again, as far as severe weather goes right now, we have the one severe thunderstorm warning for northwestern Breckenridge County, western Meade County, and that sneaks into far southern portions of Crawford County for, again, that one cell that could have winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. We also have severe thunderstorm warnings for Lawrence County in southern Indiana. That's likely going to be pushing towards you folks in Jackson County, Brownstown, Seymour, maybe Crothersville within the next 30 to 45 minutes. But really, that is just about it. I'll put everything in motion and notice the amount of warnings, the coverage of warnings has really decreased over the past 30 minutes. Hopefully that trend will continue. Still, the threat is there for some pretty strong thunderstorm activity as we move deeper into this Sunday evening. But we're really hoping, because of the storms we had earlier in the day, perhaps there's just enough stability out there to cut down some of the widespread severe weather threat. That's the way it's looking right now. We'll keep you updated. We have our newscast coming on at the top of the hour at 11 o'clock. So we'll have an update on tonight's weather potential at that time. Once again, no warnings in effect for the metro. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. A new one just issued now farther east for Brandenburg, southern portions of Harrison County, and that sneaks into northern Hardin County near Radcliffe. But again, no tornado warnings in effect for the WLKY viewing area. Knock on wood, let's hope we keep that trend going. Let's hope we continue to see a weakening trend as the late evening hours wear on. We'll keep you posted. A weather update at the top of the hour when WLKY News at 11 o'clock kicks off. We'll see you then.
It's Rivers and live, local, late breaking. This is WLKY News at 11.
One man dead, down trees and power lines, home damaged, and roofs torn away from storms that brought with them nearly 70-mile-per-hour winds. Good evening to you. I'm Lauren Adams. That was the first round hitting our area around noon today, and now we're tracking another round of potentially damaging thunderstorms. We've got team coverage tonight. Our own Daniel Johnson being joined by Matt Milosevic and meteorologist Jay Cardosi, who is going to kick off our coverage. Jay, what are you tracking?
Okay, Lauren, thanks so very much. Yeah, this line of storms, which was unbelievably intense out across Illinois, down through southern portions and western portions of Kentucky, is weakening and weakening quickly the way things are looking. I think what's happened is that the storms that did move through earlier in the day stabilized the atmosphere, obviously, and it was unfortunate we had all the wind damage with the earlier event. But those storms really stabilized the atmosphere, and we just could not get the atmosphere re-energized to keep those western storms going. So the bottom line, yes, scattered storm chances will continue through the early overnight, no question about it. The timing now until about 2 o'clock in the morning. There's still a severe threat out there, but it's going to be widely scattered, if not isolated, and that threat is dropping off at a pretty good clip. Now, as I take you over to the actual radar scan, we put everything in motion. Notice what's happening here. We have a couple of warnings out there, but you know what? The amount of severe thunderstorm warning activity we had earlier, just an hour ago, and even tornado warnings that were mixing in, that number has come down immensely. So that is great to see. We think that trend will continue. Having said that, there's still a few areas that are experiencing some pretty high winds close to Brandenburg and points off to the west-southwest from there, where some warnings are still in effect. For more on that, let's go over to meteorologist Daniel Johnson. Daniel?
Yeah, thank you very much, Jay. We do have that one severe thunderstorm warning in effect. We'll zoom into that one and give you a good idea of what's going on right around the Brandenburg area, Corridon as well. A lot of loud thunder, some lightning, intense lightning, cloud-to-ground lightning, very dangerous lightning as well, and wind gusts potentially up to 60 miles per hour. So yes, conditions are improving in terms of the atmosphere is a little more stable than what it was earlier today, and that's why most of the line is weakening. So the severe threat's not completely done with, but we're seeing improvements, which is really good news. So the one severe thunderstorm warning right now in effect for portions of Harrison County, Meade County, including the cities of Brandenburg and Corridon, and it is lifting off to the north and east. So we're expecting it to reach the metro here in about half an hour or so. look at the bulk of the storms out to the west, just a cluster of storms. This is a complex of storms racing off to the east. It is moving so fast, it'll probably be out of the metro probably in the next hour, hour and a half, and eventually out of the viewing area in a matter of probably just 2 hours. So a very fast-moving storm system. Still a little bit of severe weather out there, but that tornado threat diminishing. The severe wind threat still existing, but even that diminishing a little bit. We're going to be here the next couple of hours, keeping an eye on it. I'll come back with the latest details on the storms rolling through tonight, and I'll let you know when some better weather is ahead. Maureen.
All right, we will see you and the team then. Thanks, Daniel. Now, our Jamie Mace has been across Jefferson County today talking to those impacted by these storms. She joins us live now from the Clifton neighborhood with a scene that was all too familiar to many across the area. Jamie?
Lauren, we're here near Pope and Frankfurt streets where you can see just how much damage those powerful winds did this afternoon. If you look behind me right now, you can see this tree has blown over and landed on part of the roof of this home here. But throughout our viewing area, there was a lot more than homes that were damaged. Police say one life was lost during the storms.
And it just kept getting darker and it started to rain harder.
Neighbors throughout the Louisville area say strong winds quickly followed as storms swept through the area Sunday afternoon. Patrice Childress says she was at her home in Fern Creek when she heard trees snapping, and then these heavy branches crashed into her deck.
It was just a loud crash, and I went to look out the window. My kids ran in and we looked out and we just seen all the damage.
Around the J-Town area, there were several downed power lines and trees, which were uprooted, blocking streets throughout the area. And in plain view, the roof of a daycare was blown off. This surveillance video shows part of the roof as it's lifted up from the powerful winds. And near Anchorage, one man was killed after police say he was struck by a tree near Hobbs Station Road and died at the scene. Neighbors say the man was working as a landscaper when he was killed. Jordan Burns, who lives nearby, was shocked to find out what happened.
It's unfortunate, and it makes me really sad to hear about that, especially, living so close to this.
A devastating tragedy, which neighbors say has left them shaken.
It's awful. It's terrible. We just wish the family the best, and we're so sorry that would happen, For sure. You never expect anything like that to happen in your neighborhood.
Police say they're continuing to investigate that death in Anchorage. Reporting live, I'm Jamie Mays, WLKY News.
Jamie, thank you. And here's a look at more damage our crews came across today near St. Matthews on Washburn Avenue. Check this out. Crews were at work removing a tree that had been blown over onto a nearby car. Police blocked off Washburn Avenue near Westport Road while the tree was taken off. And over in the Jacobs neighborhood, extensive damage to homes and roofs caused by intense wind speeds that we talked about. Many of those living in the area are now waiting for power to be restored. And those living near Parthenia Avenue say the storms were powerful enough to uproot huge trees like this one.
Well, the damage to my house is all electrical is out. As you can see, the wires are down. The conduit that connects to the street has been destroyed. I saw 2 houses down the street, total damage, totally destroyed by a tree that fell on both houses.
Now, it wasn't just Jefferson County. There were reports of damage in Hardin, Grayson, Bullitt counties. These photos were sent to our newsroom by a viewer in Brandenburg, Meade County, showing a large tree that was brought down onto their deck due to those high winds. And in Shepherdsville, another viewer sent us pictures showing down limbs over on Centerview Drive, some even blocking neighborhood streets. In Fern Creek, the storms took down trees and limbs as well. You just heard from that woman in Jamie's story. You can see the damage from this photo sent to the newsroom. And in Hikes Point, one viewer shared these images of a tree limb fallen onto their house. Fortunately, everyone was okay. Now, with the second round of storms coming through, we plan to keep you updated all night, whether it's on air or online at WLKY.com. New tonight, LMPD's traffic unit is investigating a fatal crash on Preston Street and Eastern Parkway. Police responded there around 5:30 this evening and
Only at the Kia stores.
Thanks for coming back with us. A severe thunderstorm warning for the metro has just been issued. It will expire for the next 45 minutes. We've got team coverage from Daniel, Matt, and Chief Meteorologist Jay Cardosi, who starts out our coverage. Jay, what are you seeing?
Okay, Lauren, thanks so very much. Yeah, a brand new warning has just been issued by the National Weather Service. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for possibility of wind gusts that could be upwards of 50 and 60 miles per hour as this storm is coming out of Harrison County, the Brandenburg area, and racing its way off to the east and also the northeast. And folks, this is the only warning we have in the WLKY viewing area. It is for the metro, so if you're in and close to the metro area, be on the lookout for winds that could be on the high side in scattered locations. Don't think it's going to be a repeat performance of what we had earlier in the day when we had those widespread winds rake across much of the viewing area, upwards of 60 and 70 miles an hour. Having said that, you can see this brighter shade of green that's just on the other side of the Ohio River right now, heading towards Valley Station, PRP, Rubbertown up to Shively, the Portland neighborhood up to near New Albany. That line of wind, if you will, is racing off towards the east, and we're pinging winds that could be upwards of 50, 55 miles per hour, especially here in southwestern Jefferson County, coming through the Jefferson County Memorial Forest, for example. And you can see with that some very heavy rainfall as well. The rest of the metro right now, just scattered downpours, a little bit of lightning and thunder, but no severe weather just yet. As we track this thing, as we're tracking the leading edge of the heavy rain number 1 and that higher wind field, scattered locations, winds that could be 50 to 60 miles per hour. You can see some of the communities in the path of those stronger winds. Shively now, New Albany now. We get farther down the list. We're talking Clarksville, the downtown region, 20 minutes after the hour. Pioneer Village around 11:23. Take you to Indian Hills and Newburgh as we get closer to 11:24, 11:25. That's when some of those winds could be impacting your community or communities around you as well, in addition to quite a bit of lightning and thunder and heavy rainfall as well. Hey, that severe thunderstorm warning also carries down into Bullitt County. So if you're watching from places like Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, here's far northern Hardin County. This is southeastern portions of Meade County. You too are underneath the severe thunderstorm warning for those higher winds that could move across your area. For all these scattered strong wind gusts, we don't see any rotation out there. I don't see anything tornadic at this point in the game. Knock on wood, let's hope that trend continues, because the atmosphere was fairly conducive to rotating storms. And boy, that did happen off to the west and southwest of the metro. It had a damaging tornado move across western portions of Kentucky earlier in the evening. And it looks like guys, did they just issue a tornado warning?
We were just looking at this. This just came in. This just came in from the National Weather Service. Until midnight at 11:17, a tornado-producing storm located 12 miles north of Elizabethtown, moving east at 55. They're calling it radar-confirmed tornado. That was just issued here moments ago, and that goes until midnight for portions of northern Hardin County over towards Bullitt, and you can see carrying into portions of Spencer and northern Nelson County. So continuing to get the latest on that, but that was just issued moments ago within the severe thunderstorm warning. And Jay, I know we've been looking at this storm relative velocities and all of that. It's tough to see.
It's tiny.
But
is there a little couplet right there?
I think right there
just
near
north of
Radcliffe.
Yep.
Is what we're going to be looking at with this particular cell behind me. You see, we'll switch on over. It's right near the Radcliffe area that's pushing. Oh, it's actually now pushing past with the latest update, Jay. So we're going to send it back over to you there in the Key Wall. I'll slow this down and let you track it here for yourself. Okay. In there, but you can also see there's a couple of pixels of some higher wind gusts there as well, and maybe immediately near or just northeast of Radcliffe, perhaps?
Right there. Yeah.
I'll go back in time a little bit for you.
So there's the couplet right there, but as it's been moving off towards the east, notice how it's being absorbed and weakened, and weakens quite a bit. Well, You know what? The atmosphere, as we talked about earlier, was conducive to rotating storms. You know what? National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for this particular cell. So if you are here in the Radcliffe area, even just off to the northeast of Vine Grove, if you're here in northern Hardin County, central and southern portions of Bullitt County, over towards far northern Nelson County, and finally this is western portions of Spencer County in Kentucky. If you're in this zone, folks, in this red polygon that is flashing close to it, take your tornado warning precautions seriously. Please get to your basement. If you don't have a basement, lowest level of your house, and put as many walls between you and the outside, because certainly we have some thunderstorms moving across portions of the viewing area that are giving us some problems, some problematic weather tonight, to include some damaging straight line wind gusts and maybe an isolated tornado spin up. But that couplet that did show up briefly as it was in southeastern Meade County seems to have weakened quite a bit. We'll see what happens with this tornado warning, but as it stands right now, if you're in this warning zone, again, take your tornado precautions seriously. A lot of wind energy in the atmosphere tonight, no question about it. We're tracking that couplet, and you can see Lebanon Junction, 1130, Belmont, 1132, 1136, the Claremont area. Get down towards the list, Samuels, Cox's Creek, High Grove, 1142 to 1147. Okay, that is the potentially tornadic part of the storm. We go farther north. Here in the metro, no tornado warnings, but we do have a severe thunderstorm warning. 4 winds that could be upwards of 50 and 60 miles per hour. And you can see clearly the wind field is now moving into not only northwestern Bullitt County, but western portions of the metro as well. And we're pinging winds that could be 40 to 50 miles per hour, at least on the radar scan. Could there be an isolated 60-mile-an-hour gust? Yes, that is possible with this line as it moves off to the east and northeast. And please keep in mind, it had a lot of rain recently, as you know. That could be, saturating the ground somewhat. We have a full canopy of leaves on those trees out there. So it wouldn't take much to bring down a tree or even a power line, things like that, with what we had earlier in the day. And you can see additional strong storms farther off towards the southwest from there. Just west of you folks in E-Town, down through Litchfield, not warned right now, no severe thunderstorm warnings, but certainly some heavy rainfall and even some gusty winds that could be 40 to 50 miles per hour. The problematic part, guys, as we've been talking about, is a little farther north. Portions of Bullitt County and points off towards the east from there. Any other updates on this? Daniel, have you seen anything?
Yeah, so the National Weather Service said they saw that little couplet show up. It was literally within minutes, so that's why they issued that tornado warning for portions of our area. And then as quickly as that velocity signature showed up, Jay, it disappeared.
Yeah.
So we're in that type of pattern where it's mostly straight line winds that we're keeping an eye on. You can see the cluster of storms on national or regional radar behind me, and that's what we're watching here. The good news is overall, the cluster itself weakening. The best ingredients for severe weather, tornadic type of storms south of the metro, but even here in the metro, we're still in that type of environment where we're seeing straight line winds, mostly with these storms. However, little quick spin ups along the line could pop up. And that's what we saw, Jay, earlier when we were watching these storms approach the metro and approach the viewing area. We saw little couplets, little velocity signatures, little spins on radar. And that is what was making us kind of open our eyes and say, hey, it's not an obvious screaming tornado type of storm, but when you get those little pieces of rotation, that's when they could briefly put down spin-up tornadoes that can do some damage. So we're tracking it for sure, but right now, it looks like that velocity signature is weakening a little bit, but still, if you're under that tornado warning, definitely stay in your safe spot for now until that warning does expire. But we'll keep tracking it for sure. Jay?
All right, Daniel, thanks so very much. You're looking at the velocity scan here behind me, what the actual wind field is doing in the atmosphere. Here is the metro, Jefferson County, Bullitt County. There's your tornado warning south of the metro, but it does include northern portions of Hardin County here, and this is Bullitt County, and Matt right there is running the radar for us, and there could be a little bit of rotation right there, certainly. Immediately east of 31W and east of Radcliffe, moving across northern portions of Hardin County. That's going to carry it into central and southern Bullitt County in relatively short order. Again, something that screams a tornado at this time? No, I don't see that right now, but these little couplets are fast hitting. They form, they dissipate, they form, they dissipate. As Daniel talked about, had a number of them in southwestern Indiana, west of our viewing area. They weakened. The entire line started to weaken. And another little spin up tried to happen there as it was moving out of southeastern Meade. And that's why the National Weather Service has issued this tornado warning. This is our rotation detector, and you can see the brighter shades of green, and inside there's some of the reds. So we got some twisting of the winds going on close to the ground. So got to take this warning seriously. Please, if you're in this red flashing polygon, get to your tornado warning safety area. You know, if you have friends and family in this zone, they might not be watching TV. It's a long holiday weekend. A lot of things going on throughout this holiday weekend. If you would, please give them a quick call, quick text, tell them what's going on. Hey, pretty strong storms in your area, no doubt. Chances for some pretty high winds moving across sections of Bullitt County, but also that potential, that small potential for a quick hitting tornado spin up. We'll have to watch for that very, very closely here over the next several minutes. And that also carries us towards Mount Washington, Highway 44 as it moves on into western Spencer County near Waterford as well. The warning goes almost to Taylorsville, but especially just off to your west and also your southwest. All right, farther north in the metro, okay, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. And you can see there's the leading edge of the very heavy rainfall, pretty much right on top of Interstate 65 right now. And that is typically where the highest winds associated with a thunderstorm occur, on the very leading edge of that heavier rain. Matt, your opinion here, what are you looking at? Yeah, I'm seeing winds maybe 30, 40, 45 miles an hour, but not too much more than that right now across the metro.
Yeah, this doesn't look overly extreme. The higher radar winds are off to the east, so they're not co-located with the line of the leading edge of storms itself. So we look back to where that leading edge is, and we're looking at, roughly 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts as it passes through, at least as indicated on radar. We'll be checking the Ali International observation here shortly. I did see out of Fort Knox that there was a 41 mile per hour gust just a couple of minutes ago. And also looking in towards Ali International, I'm just waiting for the latest to load up. Not getting into any big wind gusts quite yet reported, Jay. So we'll keep close eyes on that. But at least in the metro right now, some of those wind gusts are at least below severe limits, and we'll continue to watch farther on off towards the south. That is where it does look to be at least a little worse with this particular storm and this line moving through Bullitt County.
Okay, Matt, thank you so very much, sir. All right, so if you're just now joining us, here's what we have going on. We have a tornado watch that goes until about 2 o'clock in the morning. Conditions are favorable for strong and severe storms, although just within the past hour or two, those conditions are starting to, well, weaken somewhat, if you will. And that's why the line of storms that was so very strong out in Illinois and western Kentucky has also weakened. Do we have sporadic bouts of some severe weather going on? Yes, and you can clearly see that. We have warnings for the metro, severe thunderstorm warning, to include winds that could be 40 to 50 miles an hour, maybe a bit higher in isolated locations. Quite a bit of cloud-to-ground lightning strike activity also going on. Heaviest rainfall, I can hear it on top of the roof right now, here at our studio, downtown, and then down that I-65 corridor, back to near Fairdale, and it carries immediately west of the Shepherdsville area. And speaking of Shepherdsville, that's where we get into a tornado-warned situation, okay? We've had a little couplet show up on the radar scan. And again, just because of how strong the wind field is on this Sunday night, how much instability was present to the west of our region. National Weather Service not fooling around at all. They're like, let's just, a tornado is possible, so that's why they went with the tornado warning. And you know what, for good measure, if you're down in this region, we don't want to, let's play it, let's be safe rather than sorry, obviously. But here we go. If you're down in this area, please be in your tornado warned safety spot and stay there until the danger is past. These storms are flying, so it won't be around all that long. Hey, the severe thunderstorm warning continues on into Oldham County, up I-71, Crestwood to LaGrange. Some pretty strong winds could be moving in your direction within the next 15, 20 minutes or so. Still that highest wind field back here in central Jefferson County, but it could cruise up into your area shortly. And same can be said here in western Shelby, Shelbyville to Simpsonville, over to Eastwood, near Valhalla Golf Course, Lake Forest, for example, the Big Bend there of 265, Pee Wee Valley, the Anchorage area. Be on the lookout for some pretty strong winds moving in your direction here in relatively short order. And let's face it, we're on heightened awareness now just because of what happened earlier in the day with that line of storms that moved on through A and B. Well, it's nighttime, so we just want to stay inside, be safe, stay away from windows as some of these strong wind gusts come on through. Daniel, anything?
Yeah, if you want to get an idea of what it looks like outside, if you're not looking out your window or not, you can see all the lightning over my shoulder. This is one of our live cameras, the Sheraton in Indiana, looking at downtown Louisville. Hard to see the city with all the heavy rain, a lot of lightning going on as well. So dangerous cloud to ground lightning. We have potential wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, which is why we're under that severe thunderstorm warning. And of course, we had that one tornado warning in Bullitt, Nelson County, and parts of Spencer County as well. So a lot of activity going on. We hear the rain falling quickly. And we do want to remind everyone that tornado watch. So the watch just means the atmosphere is conducive to possibly producing tornadoes, and that's why we are seeing that one tornado warning in effect. But the tornado watch is in effect until 2 o'clock in the morning. It includes the entire viewing area, so just the potential for some severe activity up until about 2, and then things will really improve. That's not the only hazard we're watching. Notice all the blinking green boxes. That is flash flood warnings, mainly outside our viewing area to the south and west. That's where we've had training thunderstorms, a lot of tornado activity down there as well, and heavy rain. But we're under a flood watch for our entire viewing area as well, or at least most of the viewing area, because of the very heavy rain that is falling right now. And as I mentioned, we can hear it on our studio roof right now. And any really heavy rains, with all the rain we've had lately, there can be a lot of ponding on roadways, and wet ground can make trees blow over pretty quickly and pretty easily, which is why part of the reason we saw a lot of trees knocked over earlier today with the morning round. But Jay mentioned it, now we're getting around at night, which makes it even more dangerous. A lot of people sleeping. If anyone's out on the roads, that can cause some major issues when it's dark. So we're watching it. We got the tornado watch, we have the flood watch, and we have that one tornado warning for Bullitt, Nelson, and parts of Spencer County that we're watching closely. But we'll keep updating you guys. Jay, Matt, you guys have anything new right now? Nothing from the National Weather Service. I just checked in on them, but they're just maintaining that tornado warning for now.
Okay, Daniel, thanks so very much. Brand new wind field just popped up here in the new radar scan. Matt, I noticed that you were looking at this wind field very closely. Where are we at here? Bullitt County?
We're in the middle of Bullitt County. On front and center of your screen here is Shepherdsville behind me. And we have seen an uptick in the wind velocities off of that. At the very least, some straight line wind gusts approaching 55, 60 miles per hour. You see 58 just north of Shepherdsville. We also have a couple of more indications of 50+ mile per hour winds that go mainly along the I-65 corridor, straight down almost the length of Bullitt County from the Highway 44 area near Shepherdsville all the way down towards Lebanon Junction as you get towards the Nelson and Hardin County line. So let's be very aware of that, because just over the last couple of scans of the radar, I'm going to back it up just a little bit and can show you how we've gone forward. Now, you can see those numbers have gone down on the pixel query. That's because the wind is pushing quickly on off to the east. In excess of 60, close to 70 miles per hour is how quickly that line is moving. So look for those shades of pink, and that gives you the indication within that line where we could get some severe wind gust as it pushes on through. I'll switch it back over to the reflectivity on the radar, which you know, to be real honest, Jay, that radar doesn't look overly intimidating. But again, within that wind field, though, you can see that we've had some of those wind gusts 55 to 60. Checking some of the surface observations in this area near Bullitt County, not getting wind gusts quite that high, at least indicated down to the surface. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen, but something that I'll continue to keep an eye on. Also coming out of Ali International, looking for winds gusting, and boy, Jay, at 11:28, so 7 minutes ago, the report was a thunder shower and the winds were calm.
Okay.
So continuing to keep eyes on that. We're talking too earlier about maybe the lowest levels of the atmosphere perhaps cooling a little bit too. That could limit some of these wind gusts coming through these thunderstorms. So a complex setup this Sunday evening. We're going to continue to watch it, keep you updated on the surface observations that we see, and of course what we're seeing on the radar as well. We'll send it back over to you.
Okay, Matt, thank you so very much. Let's kind of reset now. Let's pull out. Let's go to the entire viewing area, if you would, for me, sir. All right, and you can see there's this next batch, the second batch of showers and storms cruising across the WLKY viewing area. We overlay the warnings in the metro. A severe thunderstorm warning for the next 25 minutes goes until the top of the hour or midnight. Same can be said for you folks here in Oldham County, all the way from Crestwood up through LaGrange, and then north of there and also south of there on into western Shelby County, finally on into sections of Spencer County. So if you're near Taylorsville Lake, maybe you have friends and family that are doing some camping on this long holiday weekend. It's been a rough day with the strong storms of earlier. Well, it's a rough night once again, more scattered strong storms slipping across the region. So in the metro, potential for 50 to 60-mile-an-hour winds on an isolated to widely scattered basis, cutting right through central portions of Jefferson County, heading towards the east end here in the next 5 to 15 minutes or so. Okay, that's the metro. We go a little bit farther south. You can see those red flashing polygons on your map. Those are tornado warnings. And the wind field has been pretty chaotic. From time to time, we've seen what we call little velocity couplets. Basically what that is a very small area that has a sudden wind direction change in a cyclonic motion, and that can sometimes indicate tornadoes, okay? So in an environment like this, that's why the National Weather Service issued this tornado warning. And it does include sections of central Bullitt County, northern Nelson County, and this is western portions of Spencer County. And Matt is circling some of those areas that look a little suspect. Does this scream large tornado like we saw out in western Kentucky just a couple of hours ago near Dawson Springs? No, absolutely not. There could be quick hitting spin-ups that can cause some damage, only to see those tornadoes lift. So that's the type of environment we have. We're going to track this for you, though. And again, this area of Bullitt County, immediately east of 65, the Claremont region, and east of Belmont, this is cruising its way rapidly off to the east-northeast. So we're tracking a wind field that, A, could have a damaging wind gust, B, there could be a quick hitting tornado spin-up. That's why the National Weather Service has issued this tornado warning. Nonetheless, Highgrove, 1147, Waterford, 1152, over towards Taylorsville, 1158. Then you get into eastern portions of Spencer County a little bit after midnight. All right, Matt, if you would, let's pull back out now, take a look at the rest of the viewing area. And there you go. Those are the only warnings we have with tonight's activity in the WLKY viewing area at this time. So you can see not as widespread as what we had earlier in the day. And as this area of storms continues to carry its way rapidly east and southeast, yes, there could be an occasional, high wind gust, but Matt, as we were talking about earlier, we were thinking that these storms might continue to slowly weaken as they race quickly off to the east or southeast because of what happened earlier in the day.
Yeah, Jay, the atmosphere just never fully recovered, especially the further east across the WLKY region that you go. Just to give you an idea, the humidity levels, the dew point levels were much higher out into western Kentucky, and they lower as they move in our direction. Not unsupportive of any stronger storms moving on in, but definitely not all the same ingredients that were going on immediately to the west. So our severe weather threat is going to be a little more isolated. Did just get the latest report in from Ali International at 11:31. It was a 48-mile-per-hour wind gust. So there are some strong wind gusts within this storm moving across the metro area right now. We saw earlier on the radar too, I was pinging some of those velocity images right around 50 miles per hour. So the ground truth is starting to sync up with what we're seeing on the radar. That was a little higher, closer to 60 miles per hour down into Bullitt County. So we'll continue to monitor this line of storms that both has a severe thunderstorm warning on it for the metro, and we're still watching that tornado warning, perhaps a brief spin up possibility with a few of those velocity couplets that we're watching. Now, Jay, that's starting to move into eastern parts of Bullitt County. So we'll keep eyes on that, keep eyes on the surface observations as well with some of these stronger wind gusts. Not quite the intensity, at least in the metro, measured that we saw earlier this morning, but just something to be aware of. Still enough with those gusts near 50, could down some trees and some limbs across the area. So we'll continue to watch also any of those damage reports that might come in from the Weather Service here over the next few minutes, Jay.
Okay, Matt, thank you so very much. So there it is. There's the viewing area tracking this next bout of rain and embedded thunderstorms. One thing I do want to say, if you are west of 65, especially here in southern portions of Indiana, the threat for severe weather is pretty much done. You're still going to get some rain, maybe a little bit of thunder and lightning, but the severe threat is over, and there wasn't much anyway as the storms really weakened as they came away from the Wabash earlier this evening here in central and south central portions of Indiana. From the metro, especially, let's call it near the airport, I-65, the east end, we still have that threat for a damaging straight line wind gust. That's why the warning is in effect. Then we have at least a chance, a potential for a quick hitting tornado spin up south into Bullitt County, western sections of Spencer County, as Matt just alluded to. Okay, radar not really depicting a full-fledged tornado or anything like that. We just don't see that, but there's a chance. So if you're down here in this tornado warning zone, Bullitt County, central southern Bullitt County, western Spencer County, northern portions of Nelson County, please stay there until the danger is passed on by. Matt, what do you have?
Hey, Jay, real quick, the tornado warning has been canceled a little early here.
Okay.
From the Weather Service. We have the map behind you just updated, so it took a couple extra minutes, but the Weather Service has gone ahead and canceled that tornado warning early, replaced it, or continuing rather, the severe thunderstorm warning as it pushes a little further on off toward the east. So some good news there. Also going to watch a little farther on off toward the south. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Hart County with the leading edge of that line. So we'll keep close eyes on that, especially as it gets closer to Greene, Taylor, Adair County, our far southernmost communities, for perhaps strong wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour there. So a little bit of good news, even though the severe thunderstorm warning continues off to the east, the tornado warning is allowed to expire, Jay.
Yeah, good news there. I mean, there wasn't much of a tornado potential anyway, but again, with that little couplet, National Weather Service deemed it necessary to go ahead and put that warning out. But again, that has weakened altogether. Great to see. And on top of that, now the severe thunderstorm warning for the metro is being chiseled away. It's being cut back now to include the east end down into eastern Bullitt County and then points east from there. So basically, if you are anywhere in the metro, especially, I'm going to say from I-65 and points west, the west end, your severe threat is done for the night, okay? If you're from I-65 and east of the I-65 corridor here in the east end, Still that chance for some scattered strong wind gusts for probably only the next 10 to 15 minutes. And then that will be moving farther off to the east with this warned segment. And as Matt just talked about, we have that new warning that's a little bit farther south into Hart County, south central Kentucky, for the next several minutes, a severe thunderstorm warning. Some of the wind gusts pinging upwards of 50, 55, 59 miles per hour on a scattered to isolated basis, anywhere from Oldham County, the east end of the metro, western portions of Shelby County. So again, if you're in those areas, yeah, that chance certainly does exist for a scattered strong wind gust. Shouldn't last long, however. Once these things move on through, they're going to move through quickly and be out of your zone. Rain will be left behind for a little while, but the severe threat won't last long at all. Here is Hart County. The E-Town area right now, you guys have a lot of heavy rainfall, thunder and lightning, some gusty winds. But as we get farther south here into Hart County, even though there's really not much rain going on, you can see that leading edge of the heavy rain coming into far western and northwestern Hart County. And as that sweeps off to the east-southeast, there could be a pretty strong wind gust for places like Bonneville, Munfordville, over towards southern portions of the county near Horse Cave as well. Could that impact portions of Greene County, Adair County, Taylor County? Sure. And we'll be on the lookout for that as we move deeper into this Sunday night. Daniel, you've been tracking some of the chat rooms and things like that. What do you have, sir?
Yeah, so there's a lot of damage reports, of course, out of our viewing area down toward Bowling Green and just west of there. But I did want to give you an update on Futurecast. The latest one just came into the Weather Center, and Jay was mentioning how quickly these storms are moving through, which is good and bad news. The faster the storms move, sometimes the stronger the wind gusts can be. However, the quicker it moves, the faster it gets out of here, right? Here's the latest one of Futurecast, which takes us up until about where we are right now, 11:30, 11:45. And look what happens as we put this into motion. In just an hour from now, at 12:30, or less than an hour away, most of this severe weather is out of the viewing area. So in the next hour, we're really going to start to see improving conditions very quickly. It's still going to be raining likely in the metro for the next hour or two, but look how quickly this gets out of here. By 3 o'clock in the morning, we're mostly rain-free as the system moves off to the east. And hey, we might see a little bit of sunshine for your Memorial Day, especially as we move into the afternoon. So still some dangerous weather out there. We're not completely out of the woods just yet. We're monitoring the National Weather Service chat rooms. Of course, we're monitoring radar and the latest velocity data because there's a little bit of rotation showing up within some of these line segments. Not sure about some of our southern viewing areas if we're seeing some of that rotation popping up near Munfordville or Horse Cave, but they do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, it looks like. Matt or Jay?
Yeah, Daniel, there is a warning in effect for Hart County, as you can see, off towards the south, right there, and to include you folks in Munfordville, Bonneville, as well as, boy, the Jonesville area, Priceville, if you're in and close to that region, and then a little bit farther off towards the south near Horse Cave. And that warning extends farther off to the south down near the Kentucky-Tennessee state line. But again, severe thunderstorm warnings. The rotation in these things has weakened quite a bit. And as we move deeper into this Sunday night, I suspect that trend will continue even as we head farther off to the east into eastern portions of Kentucky. So there are the warnings that we have in effect. Severe thunderstorm warnings, potentially high winds on the order of 50, 55, maybe isolated 60-mile-an-hour gusts. And again, scattered. I don't think it's widespread, certainly, but nonetheless from Oldham County, western portions of Shelby, Spencer, here's eastern Bullitt, and the east end of the metro. Let's call it from near the Gene Snyder and points off to the east. And as we zoom in even a little bit tighter, you can see that heavy rain shield right there. Typically, it's on the leading edge of that rain shield, that heavy rain shield where you can get those winds that can come out of that thing and can be quite strong and potentially cause a little bit of a problem, maybe a downed tree or a power line or something like that. You can see Matt is putting on some of these winds upwards of 60 in a few isolated locations. This is Oldham County up I-71. Then you get into Shelby County, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Same can be said here on the far east end of the metro. So we'll continue to monitor that stuff. But again, the good news, guys, is that the tornado potential, if you will, the tornado warnings, they have been canceled. The rotation that National Weather Service was seeing, as brief as it was, has gone away, so that is some great news. Matt?
Yeah, definitely great news, Jay, that we don't have any tornado warnings left. Not getting many reports or any really of wind damage recently from the National Weather Service, even though we have had some gusts reported near 50 miles per hour at Ali International in the metro. So continue to monitor those observations. Also getting a little bit of the tornado watch chipped away. I'm going to send it over to Daniel Johnson right now. He has the latest on that. Daniel?
Yeah, Matt, more good news. So the faster these storms are moving, the quicker they're getting out of here, and the atmosphere is stabilizing, especially behind the strongest of the storms. It's just raining, and it's bringing down some cooler air. I can imagine temperatures are probably in the 60s out to the west, and even here in the metro, we're dropping already down into the upper 60s and low 70s. So cooler air moving in with the rain-cooled air, and you can already see the tornado watch has been dropped for Scott, Clark, Floyd, Harrison, Washington counties, and then crossing the border into Kentucky down into Meade and Breckinridge counties. So the tornado watch has expired. For those of you living in those counties, it's still in effect, the tornado watch for the metro and points south and off to the east as well, just until 2 o'clock in the morning. But I would not be surprised if they eventually drop that a little bit sooner than 2 o'clock in the morning, as these storms are really racing off quickly to the east. We also have a flood watch in effect until 8 o'clock in the morning. This will likely remain for the next several hours as we wake up early Monday morning. Still some rain likely for the next several hours here. Some heavy rain potential. The flashing green polygons and boxes you see, those are flash flood warnings where flooding is ongoing at this hour. So not in the viewing area, so that's good news. But some of the heavy rain being produced by these strong and severe storms could possibly cause some localized flash flooding even in our viewing area. So that's just a couple of the hazards to watch. The tornado threat, Jay, is dropping. The flood threat still remains a little bit, and we still have that little bit of that wind threat, of course, as these severe storms roll through. Jay?
Okay, Daniel, thanks so very much. I think we can safely say that as we move deeper into this Sunday night, the severe weather threat continues to come down. And again, if you are pretty much to the west, if you reside west of this brighter shade of heavy rain right there that runs from Oldham County, the east end, eastern Bullitt County to E-Town, and then south of Litchfield, if you're off to the west of that zone, hey, you're done with any and all severe weather threats for the remainder of this night. A little bit of rain, a little bit of thunder and lightning, but that's going to be about it. And the threat is pretty much over for downtown. It's over from 65 and points off to the west. The far east end, yeah, we still have that threat for a higher wind gust associated with this heavy rain shield as it moves in an easterly direction at speeds of around 40 to 50 miles per hour. And that's why the NWS keeps this severe thunderstorm warning alive from Mount Washington, east of Shepherdsville, and then it includes all of you folks in Spencer County. Be on the lookout, especially as you get closer to Taylorsville, the Taylorsville Lake recreational area in eastern portions of Spencer. Be on the lookout for some stronger winds shifting through your area here in relatively short order. Yeah, just on the leading edge as Matt is drawing that out for us. This line moving quickly off towards the east. I mean, it is flying. And you can see some of the communities in the path of what could be some scattered strong wind gusts. Taylorsville right now, Shelbyville 11:55. We get a little bit closer to the midnight hour. We're talking places like Eminence, Bloomfield, Owenton, and Owen County. The capital city around 12:13 to 12:15. That's how fast this stuff is moving. And really, that's going to carry it out of a good chunk of the viewing area as we get closer to the 1 o'clock hour there on this late Sunday night. So again, going back in time, you can see the tornado warnings that were in effect. Those have been chiseled away. They have been canceled as any and all rotation in that thunderstorm was weak to begin with, but again has completely fallen apart And now just potentially damaging straight line winds in isolated locations from the east end of the metro, and then points east from there, up I-71, out I-64, and then down towards the Bardstown area, at least just north of there. Guys, Matt?
Jay was just looking the latest. The highest wind speed recorded out of Muhammad Ali International was reported. The Weather Service now 52 miles per hour with that storm. Still just a little bit below severe limits, but very strong out across parts of the region as well. Been monitoring some of the Kentucky Mesonet data. If you are watch the weather often and look for that. That is a number of surface observation instruments that are in just about every county across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I've been looking at some of the biggest wind gusts coming out of there recently. Some of those current gusts were up to 43 miles per hour in the Elizabethtown area as this latest line moved through. Just recently got a 40-mile-per-hour gust just west of Shelbyville, so into western portions of Shelby County. So there are some strong gusts with this. It's been indicated by the radar. And the thing, too, with these lines of storms, the strongest wind may miss some of these surface observation areas, but it's just something we'll continue to keep an eye on. Also, meteorologist Daniel Johnson's been checking things out, been in contact with the National Weather Service and checking social media as well. Daniel, what are you tracking right now?
Yeah, so the National Weather Service, someone posted on in the chat room that we go into what appears to be, it's really hard to see, but appears to be a possible funnel cloud or wall cloud in Radcliffe when we had that one tornado warning that was issued for portions of Bullitt County and Nelson County and Spencer County. That has, of course, expired, but yeah, we'll be sending those pictures out to social media and showing you whenever we can, but it's really hard to see. But I did want to also show you the cluster and just go back in time and see what happened to it. It was very impressive as it was approaching, but that's where all the dynamics were, out to our west, where they had some sunshine, a lot of sunshine through the day today, and that added more instability. For us, yes, we had a little bit of sunshine, but it wasn't enough to really destabilize the atmosphere, enough to bring us widespread severe weather coverage. We've had some severe thunderstorm warnings, of course, tonight, and that one tornado warning or two. But overall, the severe threat, it continues to diminish, especially from the metro and west. If you live west of the metro, you are in the clear. Right here in the metro, we're just about done. Areas off to the east, still under the threat for potential very strong wind gusts. But again, that severe threat continues to drop as we move through the next several hours. And look at these temperatures. I mentioned it earlier. I knew we were dropping quickly. Temperatures down to 63 in Huntingburg, 67 here in Louisville. So the rain, cooled air helping out as well. It's those areas, for those of you south of the metro, where we're still holding on to right around 70 degrees or so. That's where the atmosphere is still a little bit unstable. But Jay, I mean, I think by 1, 2 in the morning, I think the entire viewing area probably done with severe weather.
Yeah, no question about it.
Yeah.
This thing is racing off to the east. So that severe threat, if there is one, is running from this band of heavy rain, a little bit of thunder and lightning that extends from Trimble County, the Bedford area, close to Madison in southern Jefferson County in Indiana. But I'm talking Milton and Bedford and Trimble County, getting close to Carrollton there in Carroll County, and then down through LaGrange, in between, let's say, Middletown and Shelbyville, that batch of heavy rainfall on into western Spencer County. And we're tracking this zone for you where we could see some scattered strong wind gusts still for the next several minutes. So, you know, if you're in or close to places like the capital city, 1212, Owenton, 1213, Lawrenceburg, 1216, and then down towards Stamping Ground, Midway, the Crittenden area, 1225. That's when some of those higher wind gusts could be reaching your community or communities that are around you. And that's going to actually carry it out of the viewing area altogether as we get probably over the next 30 to 60 minutes. Okay, the East End still has this warning. I think the East End is pretty much done with the high wind threat, so much of Jefferson County pretty much done with the severe threat for the remainder of the night. Good news there. You can see where the higher winds may be located, and that's where you see this brighter shade of pink showing up. And we're talking 69, 70-mile-an-hour winds? Likely not. Probably up in the atmosphere, yes, but by the time it comes down to the ground, it's in a weakened state. And a lot of our reports, actual reports, observations, are confirming just that. Many of these wind gusts, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but many of the wind gusts have been below 60 miles an hour on this Sunday night.
Yeah, Jay, I'm not seeing any ground truth to severe limits on these wind gusts. Definitely strong. You know, we've had some 40 to 50s reported, but recently, especially east of the metro, as this line is pushed into Oldham and also Shelby County, those gusts are more in the 40 and under range. So that's definitely going to be some good news in that they are not quite as strong as they're pushing on off to the east, and we'll continue to track it. Jay, I know you're watching it too, but the good news is too, especially farther off to the west, we're really diminishing and ending that severe weather threat for the metro, the I-65 corridor, and west from there. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Matt, thank you. One last look at the radar scan, then I'm going to get you back to regular programming as the severe thunderstorm warning is going to be expiring for the metro, expiring for areas off to the east. So this is what we have right now. Still, you can see this batch of heavy rain, the yellows, the oranges, a little bit of red splashed in there, and it runs from Trimble County, Carroll County, and then back off towards the south. Western Shelby County, Spencer County, Nelson County, down into LaRue County and Hart County, okay? It's along that batch of heavy rain, especially on the very leading edge, where you can see a scattered wind gust that could be kind of strong, 50, 55, maybe even isolated 60 miles per hour. Behind that, though, we're done. The metro is now done with any and all severe weather threats for the rest of this Sunday night. And that means for tomorrow as well, for Memorial Day. But again, if you are east of 65, folks, don't put down your guard. It'll be around at least the threat for another 30 to 60 minutes, and then you too will be out of the woods. But nonetheless, you can see we only have one warning now. The warning that was in effect for the metro and areas east and northeast, that has been canceled. That has expired, in other words. We do have that severe thunderstorm warning down in Hart County, and we'll have to see whether or not they extend it on into Greene, Taylor, and Adair. If so, of course, we'll keep you posted and we'll pass that information along. But once again, you can see not much happening. Good news here, the threat for severe weather continues to slowly go down, as is the case with the tornado threat as well. And certainly for the metro, Bullitt County, Oldham County, and areas off towards the west-northwest, we are pretty much done with any and all severe weather threats for the remainder of this night. Having said that, Daniel, Matt, myself are going to be here all night if need be. We're not expecting to, but all night tracking these storms until they get out of the viewing area. If there's an uptick, more warnings are issued. We'll be on the air immediately, breaking into programming and keeping you posted, folks. But as it stands right now, yep, the warnings have expired for the metro. Only one severe thunderstorm warning for some higher wind gusts down in Hart County. We'll keep you posted throughout this Sunday night. In the interim, let's get you back to programming.